Greetings, Dr. Kothari. You've come a long way, all the way from Jaipur in India, in Rajasthan.
Yes.
And you've been studying and teaching, researching spirituality, Hindu Vedic teachings, and Jain, and other, Indian philosophies for many years, haven't you? But you also work as a newspaper owner.
Yes.
So it's fascinating. You've been able to come here to the Castle of the Muses to share with us your insights and so on. So thank you for coming. It's a great honour. I look forward to your talk, and then afterwards we'll do, I'll ask some questions like an interview thing. So I hope you're going to enjoy your visit.
Thank you. I come from India just with the curiosity to know what my friend Thomas Daffin is doing here. Because you have a multi-dimensional work, and you have presented this work at different platforms. As an individual, in your personal capacity, growing to that extent has a lot of meaning. And I was definitely curious. When I met you last time in Jaipur, then also that was the time when I decided that I will come to this place. I will see your work, and I am fascinated to see it. Rather, you can say, I feel motivated. Why I can't do the work in the same manner? Why should I deviate? Why not concentrate like you? But anyway, I feel honored. You told me many things, shown me your works, and I wish our association will continue and reach greater heights. Today, I think last time we discussed about the aspects of human life, men and women, relationships, the role of mother in Indian Vedic perspective. So I think my talk today, I will limit myself or restrict my talk to the concept of mother, or how the relationship between men and women go today, vis-a-vis how it was conceived in Vedic era.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. That's very relevant here for the Castle of the Muses, because, as you know, this castle is named after the 9 Muses, who were the goddesses of ancient Greece.
Yes.
Their mother was called Mnemosyne, which means memory. She was the goddess of memory and wisdom. And so, from an Indian perspective, the interesting...
See, I think all the names you are giving here, they all correlate to the Indian goddesses. When you say memory, we have this Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu, Smriti Rupena Sanstita, Namastase, 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 Namo Nama. This means Smriti is memory, is one dimension of the goddess.
Right.
So it could be a difference of languages, but when you go back in the spirit of the word, it will be almost the same. Either you go through Greek or through Egyptian culture or like that. Any ancient,
Sure.
Whichever culture is believing in prana theory,
Right.
they all will have the similar god and goddesses working around.
And often it was the women in the community, in the family, who carry the memory for the family. The older women who remember their grandchild being born, their own grandmothers. So you'll talk about real mothers.
Because you see, in the beginning, let us see, when modern science says there are only 2 things. One is matter, another is energy. And they are interchangeable. Okay? In our scriptures, they say there are 2 things. One is Brahm, one is Maya. Brahm is matter, Maya is active force. or energy, whatever you say it. In modern science, you say atom, it consists of proton, neutron, electron.
We have a physicist with us.
So, in the same manner, I mean, it is the names are different because of the languages. Otherwise, there is no difference. You can parallelly you can put them together.
Excellent, excellent.
You see, this is the thing I think we should work on. That what are the common things, and we derive basically from the all ancient religions.
Sure.
Yes, okay, not religions, ancient cultures.
And now we can prove the wisdom of the ancients through science. Is what
Through
saying.
today we are in a position to
Sure.
convert, interpret it in scientific languages.
That's what I'm trying to do here in the Castle of the Muses. You see.
That is our main idea.
Yeah.
But the problem will arise when we talk about the Western culture, modern Western culture, because they do not believe here in those gods and goddesses.
Well,
you see, this will be the basic difference in philosophies. In India, particularly, where I come from, there are three levels of the universe: Adidev, Adibhut, and Adhyatma. That means the physical world, the internal world, and the cosmos. When you go to Western philosophy, this, you say pranas, there is no theory of pranas working there.
But it depends which philosophers you talk to. I come from a tradition in the Western philosophical community.
But that is the past.
Well, no.
What about the present generation?
Well,
what culture it belongs to?
Well, the whole Jungian tradition talks of the gods and goddesses as archetypes.
What the gods and goddesses means? It is basic. They are all the symbols. You see, this is the basic problem. We don't treat them as symbols. They are the symbols of, or the names of various pranas, or the basic elements working in the nature.
In ancient Egypt, they were called letters.
Yeah.
They were elements.
Letters. So you have to decode the names, you see. Then there is no god and no goddesses.
Well, there is, but
you
decode the essence of it.
Yes, you decode them,
yeah,
and you get the natural elements.
Sure.
So all the Puranic stuff, because they are all oral traditions, they has to be coded. Otherwise, they will be so lengthy, it is difficult to remember. So when you codify and make them small formulas, you can remember for thousands of years. You see.
Sure.
But when you want to understand them, you have to decode it in the same detailed manner.
Sure, and the language is the key to that. We were
Language is the key.
yesterday.
Even the symbols, syllables, phonetics, everything is the key.
Yeah,
You have to.
in Judaism, it's the same. In the Hebrew alphabet, each letter stands for a
Each letter, yes.
spiritual element.
Yes.
The universe is made of spiritual elements,
You will be
as
surprised
well as
that
physical elements. We can agree on that.
we have 33 pranas.
You have
That means
prana.
33 gods. Main 33 gods.
Okay.
And we have 33 syllables.
In Sanskrit.
So each alphabet belongs to one god. It represents one god. Then you see, there is a scientific element somewhere which we need to decode.
Well, you've seen my periodic table of the religions. That's the same kind of idea.
It will come same.
Yeah.
Because truth is one. You follow any route, you will reach the same place.
Absolutely, yes.
If we,
and my concern is that it's a peaceful truth. You see, why your paper that you're about to give us on women is so important is women are being abused around the world, domestically often. And there's a lot of violence between
she is the dynamic.
unresolved.
Yes.
We need to make peace between the genders. Women's rights and equality based on love. But also then peace between the families, nations, tribes, The old tribal warfare is still going on. And in India, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, still they burn people with if a bride is arranged.
That part is over. But there are many different
Then
religions.
they're burned if they don't bring enough money. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Like in India, they were doing sati.
When you talk about this word love, then there is no gender.
Sure, it's just soul. We're all souls.
Even it's a man or woman, love is the same. So, if we talk only about this love across the world, we don't talk about man and woman at all. We talk only about the love, how to spread it. The problem of the gender dispute automatically vanishes. You see, this is also a way of looking at it.
Sure. Okay, well look, I'll shut up. Tell us your paper and then we'll discuss at the end, okay? It's very important because you prepared it, so
This, I say, the life is like a river which changes its course with time or with the geography, and also with changes in the social framework, which means that we treat water in a different manner at different levels, and we behave with the river as a human, as she is a human being. You see, so there are hundreds of rituals, not only across the water alone, but connected with the river, connected with the sea, connected with the local wells and things like that. So that it all changes. So that's why we compare this life with the river, and this life, it carries the weight through wisdom, not through information, not through knowledge, but through wisdom. And wisdom you cannot acquire from outside. What you acquire is information and knowledge. Wisdom is your synthesis which comes from inside. Knowledge is borrowed, maybe from parents, maybe from schools or from books or TV, media, whatever it is. Knowledge is a borrowed thing, information is a borrowed thing, not wisdom. Wisdom is your own wealth, your own capacity to visualize things, perceive the life all across. So, and this wisdom is, you say, it cannot be acquired by physical efforts, intellectual exercises. No, it goes much beyond these things, because body is inactive, inert. It doesn't work of its own. It needs some commands for its own activities. Same way, intelligence also doesn't work of its own. It also needs some commands. If there is no desire in my heart, then the mind will not work. So then when mind says yes, then body will work. They are interconnected, but the command is elsewhere, not in the body, not in the intellect, or not even in the heart, not in the emotional life. It is in the spirit. So that it starts from there. And you can see, what you see visibly is what. What means what is happening, what is this, how it is. This is the result of why. There are two words I give you, one is what, one is why. What is the result of why? There are regions which are not known to us, which are not visible to us, but everything happens with certain reasons behind it. So all this gross material world, what we see today, has certain invisible powers, forces behind that, including the human being. Now this body is a visible body, a human body, but it works through some invisible forces. The three part of this universe is invisible, and only 25% or 1/4 is visible. So unless we understand these three quarters of this universe, it's very difficult to judge anything or comment about anything. You cannot. And even if you do it, it may not be right. There has to be something wrong. You see, this is the condition from which I start. And always the Indian wisdom is always targeting this word why. Why it is happening, why he is saying so, why it is doing so, why it is happening so, why is. If you look at why, then you reach the answer. If you just see what he has said, then you will start fighting. But if you know why he said so, there will be no fight. You will understand his position automatically, and so things will settle down immediately. And why is the answer to all the universal issues and issues of the nature and our relationship with the nature. If we do not look for why, we cannot connect ourselves with the nature at all, no chance. Then we are just stuck up with the what. Initially when I passed, I didn't get any university degree or whatever in the colleges, because I was not really so keen to learn or get some degree. So I left my colleges early. I joined armed forces, and I was there for about 7 to 8 years. Today I think if that was the reason why I am what I am today. Had I not gone to that armed forces, I think I might have failed at different stages afterwards. You see, I could pass through those stages because I had the training there. So I think nature has something somewhere which it is difficult to understand. It prepares you, or in a course of life, a time, for what is happening, what is coming before you in the future, which I think, and you see that screwdriver of that armed forces or that gun. When I left Air Force and came home, then first thing I took my camera and went out on learning more about my people. I traveled across the state. There were about 32 districts all alone. I traveled with my pen and camera, and to know the life of the people. What is grown, what is eaten, what all the flora and fauna in that particular region, what are the traditions, what is the meaning of life and death and birth, and what are the different rituals in different communities, geography of the land, political situations in every area, caste and community, formations available in different parts of the places. Now see that, and through that area and all, I covered all important festivals in that particular Rajasthan particularly. I never left one, even all, including the tribal festivals and fairs. So that book, finally it came out in the form of a book in the photojournalism. The only Hindi book on photojournalism is, and it was awarded the national award, highest national government award. From that I'm saying, I left the gun and took the camera, and then I left the camera and took the pen. There is no coincidence between the gun to pen. Finally you are firing people either through bullets or through your ink. But in this course of life, I think there is a very, very high contrast, and the biggest lesson I learned is when I was in armed forces, totally insensitive to any human situation or to any human beings. I never cared for anything. Today, it is just the opposite. I cannot write a single line which can hurt somebody. Impossible. See the change which I could see, how, and this is in between is the journey of all these years that I started from here and I reached here. And this has really opened up the eyes. This is what my teacher, the Guru, gave me. He initiated me. Actually, I had no idea what Veda means, what it talks about. But my father used to organize workshops on Vedas or Vedic studies, and he used to invite scholars from all over the country for participation. I used to just go and sit down there when I don't know what is happening. But because father is organizing something, I was just curious to know what is happening. So I used to go and sit down there. But it was, nothing went in. But I used to make notes, even if whether I understand or not. One day I made some 3-4 questions on the sheet, and I saw an old gentleman sitting, and he was very regular, so I went to him and I said, "Sir, I want to ask some 2-3 questions about the lecture which I could not follow." He looked at me and he said, "Who are you?" So I said, "I am so and so's son. My father is organizing this." "Oh, you are his son." He held my hand, pulled me, "Come." He took me to my father. He said, "I am here to ask, you give it, I want your son, I will teach him what I know." So what he says, "Why you are asking me? You ask him. If he is ready, you take him." I can't do. Then he asked me whether, "Are you ready to learn more on Vedas?" Then I said, "I am not a Sanskrit scholar. That is not your headache. I will tell you the subject and I will tell you how to interpret. And so that you can talk in the language of science." I said, "I am really totally interested, 100%, this subject was so thrilling to me." It took me about nearly 18 to 20 years till he died. He died at 97. But all the credit goes to him for my initiation in this subject. Otherwise it was not so easy to even touch it. Because I know, even today, some of these Sanskrit professors are working with me. Even retired professors are also working with me. And they say, "You are writing something, we are reading it, but without discussing it with you, we cannot follow it." See the difference. I am writing in Hindi. I am not writing in Sanskrit. Everybody understands what is the meaning, what I write, but they say no. We may read it 10 times, we do not understand what is the meaning of your text. And they say, "You teach us." We sit down. So one of the professors, he has applied for D.Litt, and in his column of the guide, he has put my name. And I want to do my D.Litt under him. You see, this is the first. What I am saying is, without the help of that guru, I couldn't have even entered this subject, because this is all not just the words alone. It is, you can say, it should become part and parcel of your life, your blood. It is a part of your blood. Then you can derive something out of it. And beyond all that, today I am occupied with how and what I can contribute to our nation. This is my present problem. You can say, or a question in my mind, and how can I contribute to my country and the humanity at large, without any expectation from any kind, from any corner, or any rewards. Naturally, my thoughts have turned towards education, a high-cost, low-quality occupation in this era. I have the highest concern for the system of education, which is among the most primary areas of life, which causes the most sufferings in the lives of poor and ordinary people. All that education does is to conduct us to the external world and to material life. It is career-oriented and not life-oriented. Now, it doesn't include the inner recesses of human being's mind and psychic, and does not provide clues on how one should relate to nature. Now, here I want to just emphasize on a point that when we were children, in our childhood rather, parents used to spare enough time for us to tell us more about life. When you go to school, there were many things, many lessons were taught to us about nature, about the birds or about the river, whatever, and there were many poems and stories. Today, everything is vanished. You read and you right from the nursery to the post-graduation. There is no human being at all mentioned in any textbook. That the teacher will come, give a lecture, and bye-bye. How this knowledge is related to human society, that also is not discussed. So, see, the personality development areas were parents and the teacher and the religion. Every person used to read either Quran, Bible, whatever, Gita, early morning for say 30 minutes, 20 minutes, regularly as part of the culture or the lifestyle. So it was a cycle where everybody was nearly a good human being. Today all those sources are cut off from the children. Now their sources are different. They will depend on TV, they depend on internet, mobile phone, cinema. Even when there was a TV, I remember there used to be one TV in the family, in the drawing room. There was a film on every Saturday, Sunday. Whole family will come and sit down and see the TV and film. Even some neighborhood people, those who couldn't afford TV, they will also come and sit down there. So it was like a small mini cinema hall, and people will watch. When it came to internet, no two people can sit together. Where the change lies in the life. Now when I am looking at the internet, I am not worried about what is your requirement, what my sister needs or brother needs or mother needs. I am not concerned. I am concerned only about myself. So I started learning to live individualistic life, away, cut off from the society. You see, this is the basic difference. Earlier, we were part of the society, we moved in the society, we worked for the society, and today, we are not part of the society at all. So if I am not very concerned about the next door neighbor, I am not expected to think at all of this motherland, or or the society at large, or the humanity at large at all. So it is the basic culture which is being, and the information age also, you see, it talks very high on intellectual planes only, like education. Education also is more, it's so competitive today that every child is worried about competition in marks. Nothing else. I mean, there is no other goal. He or she may forget the lessons after 1 month, but immediately they want to have the pass mark, or the competitively they want to have score high and high. What this influence they have created in the society today, you see, is their physical awareness has increased and intellectual awareness has also gone very high. But when we have 4 levels of life, as we were talking yesterday, physical, mental, emotional and spiritual. So the 2 areas have grown very high and 2 are left or ignored totally. So the emotional and the spiritual part is not at all grown. Nobody talks about it. Life cannot grow, or one cannot live only on the basis of physical and intellectual. These are the sources, or you can say these are the instruments to fulfill a desire. You use the body, you use the mind or the brain. But there is no desire in the body and brain, both. Desire comes in the heart. And no education teaches you what is your heart, how the desire is raised in the life, in the heart. Can you create a desire in your own heart? Nobody can. Then what is in my hand? How I say I live as per my desires. I can't produce the desires. See the difference of where the education takes you away from the reality of life. If there is no desire, I don't go to school, I don't become a doctor, I don't become an engineer or whatever I am trying to become. But I don't know where the desire comes from. Why I want to become so and so. What are all the strengths of the heart, what are all the weaknesses of the heart, and how the heart governs the brain and the body. How the heart is connected to all the senses. You see, this is the, and without this, if there is no strength in your heart, you will always cry in the life. There is no success. The struggles of the life are faced with the strong heart. Not by the strong mind or strong body, no. But in this education, this is where I wanted to tell you, this is the thing which what you are missing. The core of life is not discussed at all in education. And even beyond heart, heart also is a tool of fulfilling desires or emotions or sentiments or whatever you say. So body, mind and heart, all three are the tools to fulfillment of my desires or to achievements. But they are not me. My body, my intellect, my heart, not me, not you. So who am I? And then who are you? Whom we are talking to? Who is, you see, when this question comes, then we come back on the same plane. I am what you are. You are what I am. You see, the theory brings you back there. But this type of small exercises are not given to children at all to understand what they are, how they are connected with the nature, from where you are breathing, and what comes in the breathing, not the air, but there are many more things which come through the breathing from the nature, and we don't know, and they govern our lives. And that is what we all miss in this education. And that's why I wanted to say this. Now it doesn't include the inner recesses, which you covered. That is why we see a division in the men, woman at different entities. I come here on this point. Whereas no one is complete without the other. This is the outcome of present day education. The woman is the creator of all cultures on this globe, and alas, she is fighting for her own rights and development to the level of creating UN Women at the organization from this year. I mean, 1st of January it started, and the UN Women is the organization, and it has merged all the earlier 4 organizations put together. Now there is only one organization working for the equality and development of the woman on this globe. Now the education system has misdirected the woman to compete with men, behave like men, and even fight with men. Not as women do, but in the same way as men fight. This is the basic difference. We will discuss. In this struggle, I can see only a broken society, a broken family structure, and at the end of the day, we find a woman living all alone to herself. At the most, her daughter, like herself, may join her to live alone at a later stage in the same house. Now, the education system has brought man and woman on the same levels of pranic life against the law of nature. A man lives through his intellect or the head, whereas a woman has a compassionate heart. The system has replaced the heart with the head, creating similar polarity in both the genders, which is responsible for a repulsive attitude. Once the physical attraction is lost, which is very short-lived, then at the intellectual levels, they become rivals. Both of them are, they become less and less emotional and sensitive to each other, so to say, and cannot stay together for long. And when the inevitable break arrives, it is always the woman who has to move out and look for her own future. This is another tragedy, that it is always the woman who travels to the man's house, and it is only the woman who leaves that house. Man is still there, he doesn't move. You see, it is only a one-way traffic. This is a very important part. It's still, even with all this said and done, with all the sense of equality and development and all the struggles, this system has not changed across the world. It is only the moon, she will go there and she comes out. And she takes care of herself. See, where the social imbalance comes, these are all the basic criteria. Now in Indian philosophy guides us for one-to-one relationship over a lifetime so that one can raise the family and fulfill the dreams of life. Now in the new situation ruins it all. We can see what type of new human society is being created and see the efforts to create peace and non-violence in the life. As an Indian, I believe in the philosophy of karma or the deeds and in the inevitability of consequences or the fruits of these deeds. The theory of death and rebirth is also based on this. The fruits of a given deed or karma may be available, say, after 200 years. Now one has to be present then to consume those fruits. You see, there are certain karmas, certain deeds, certain things we do, which will bring result maybe say after 100 years or 200 years. This life or this body may not last that much. But because it is my karma, which is my deed, I have to face this fruits also. So I have to be present there when the fruits arrive. So in one form or the other form. Maybe an animal or maybe a bird or whatever it is, I will be there at that particular hour when the fruits of my karma comes. This is the theory of karma and they say cycle of rebirth. According to this theory, the body perishes but the soul does not die. It just transfers itself from one body to another and reaches all the fruits. So there could be 20 times, 100 times, so types of fruits which are coming after certain period. So you keep taking birth and rebirth in different forms and you reach every fruit and you have to pay for all the costs or you have to consume what you have done. When a soul enters a human body, it leaves another form behind but carries the sanskara or characteristics of that previous form. Therefore, the soul uses the human body also like the previous one. For a natural human life, this soul needs to be transformed into a human soul and all these non-human characteristics are analyzed and transformed by the mother while the child is still not born. Imagine the task before a mother. Here she is shaping the culture of the whole mankind in a given society. Because she is shaping the world, mother. And because of this action, she is known as the first teacher on this earth. And not because she teaches some social etiquettes, but her job is that there is no less than that of any goddess. When you talk about any goddess, she is in the form of pranas, invisible pranas. You know, there is no form of any goddess visible to us. Likewise, the role of mother also is in that form, not visible to us. When we say that the soul leaves one body, enters another body, then another body, and then another body, likewise continues. When it enters the human body, when the child is in the womb, we don't know from where it has come or previously in which body this soul was living. Mother knows it. If she is sensitive, if she is well trained and well educated rather in that particular area by her mother rather, or grandmother in the house, she will know what are the changes she is facing in her own lifestyle. You know, her thought process will change. Her all the emotionals will change, interpersonal relationship will change. She may become more, say, aggressive, she can be cool, all the tastes will all change. She may like to drink, she may like to eat some, say, raw flesh. You don't know what happens to her, all the dreams will change. So, she only knows what is happening to her. So, with putting them together, analyzing all those changes, she determines from which life this soul has come to my house. Originally, even before that, before you invite a soul, before you prepare for the reproduction, parents do prayer, the God. Please give me a good soul in this family. So it's a daily routine. This prayer also is a daily prayer that we opt for, or we invite only good souls in the family. So now you see the role of mother. Now the definition of this good soul. There is a lot of gap between the soul which has entered and what you want as a good human being. Mother will analyze this difference. If it comes from a, say, wild animal, the difference will be much more. If it comes from a bird, it could be different. Something like that, you see. So the mother then will realize how much training this soul needs to come to the level of a good human being. Now she starts singing to the soul. She starts talking to the soul, telling stories to the soul, sharing their dreams to the soul. And what as per the needs, you see the involvement of mother is of highest order, because no words are used. She can't talk to the child in her womb. You see, only the vibrations, sound vibrations are used. You can see, and through there is only one root of those vibrations. Even today, when you have a very high, different frequency of sound, you feel you are listening from this place, not from this. It has very limited frequencies. It is not meant for all the frequencies. The rest, all frequencies are heard through this, or felt. I will not say heard. I will say they are all felt, communicated, or experienced only through the nervous center. Even today, at whatever the stage of life is. So, see the role of mother. Here, so the mother is first teacher because she makes this soul 100% human soul. But before delivering the child to the society, you see, this is the major basic condition, not after delivery. She can't do anything. Once she delivers the child, then the child goes away and away and away with time. So first, with parents or grandparents and then school and likewise, the child keeps moving away and away. So, but the mother knows what she has created. So she is very highly confident about the child. She knows what my child can do, what it cannot do. You see, that confidence, it comes. But now you see with this modern education, what happens to this mother? She is also becomes a career-oriented woman. Right in the beginning itself, you see. Career means, again as we said, they are all locked up to the internet or TV or whatever it is, number one. Number two, earning bread and butter. In and living for oneself. These are the major factors of new lifestyle. So this woman is not taught by anybody in the name of equality. This is where we say it is misunderstood or misinterpreted equality. Whatever is not taught to a boy will not be taught to the girl. This is not equality. I never say this. Equality means equal opportunities and equal, you can say, rational division of the resources, availability, respect. The equality means this, not this. If so, the girl has a different lifestyle. She has a different role in the life, boy has a different role in life. But because these things are not taught to boy, also not taught to the girl. Mother also is not teaching, has no time today to teach the girl anything. And the girl, say after certain age, the children also go away out of the discipline of the house. So even mother cannot control the boy or girl, whatever it is. They take their own course. And in that lifestyle, there is no senior person teaching this. You are a dependent right from day one. Because you don't know anything. Nothing about pregnancy, nothing about delivery, nothing about the child rearing, nothing after delivery issues or areas. Zero. So you make your life 100% dependent. Here you come this. And number two, because you are not sensitive to the vibes of the fetus, you cannot transform. There is the activity of transformation of the soul has all stopped. So what happens if it comes from a tiger soul in the human body? The soul will use this body as a tiger for the rest of 100 years. You know, this is the difference. Why we say today more human animals on the earth? Because it's a now biological product. No one knows what to change. There is no transformation done at all at any level. This is the basic difference. Why human society, why there is a lot of human cry for peace? Why so much of violence? Why so much terrorism? These are all the products of this mother. If this mother cannot transform, the same animal will work in the same body, in this body. You see, this is the basic main role. And there is another aspect of women and men. Our lifespan is divided into 100 years. I mean, 100 years are divided into 4 parts, or 4 zones you can say, but 25 years each. First 25 years is the schooling years for all. Second 25 years, this is the married life. Third is social service. Fourth, renunciation. Now what happens? Here, big changes starts from this area. Boys and girls are developing in the same manner without having any difference or any natural difference, maintaining it. They do not maintain it. So that difference is totally lost. Woman is supposed to be representing the energy part. Matter and energy, when we see two things, woman is more on energy side, man is more on matter side, and it's a creator. Man is actually, you can say, what you say, storage of the seeds of mankind. What man is, he stores the seeds. That's all. You can say like this. And beyond that, woman doesn't need a man at all. Once you sow the seed, you are free for the life. The rest of the things will be taken care of by the woman herself. And she is the real force behind all these creation activities. And when we talk in absolute terms, when Brahm and Maya, now the universe is created, then you will feel that it is only the energy which is changing the shape of the matter. Matter is inert, it cannot act, it cannot react, nothing. Energy will take a portion of the matter, create something, take a portion and create something, and the universe is created. But by the energy alone. And in the same manner, the woman also is the creator as the energy, I mean the form of energy, creating life. You see, she is also taking a portion of the seed, enveloping it, developing it, growing it, nurturing it. Same manner as you say the goddess, different goddesses, the role of different goddesses. Same role, it is defined in the same manner. But the first entry of the woman in man's life is through desire. She creates a desire, and desire is the first form of energy in the heart. She is the creator of desire. If there is no desire, nothing moves further. So she creates a desire, enters the man's life at 25 years, in the second phase, and then now you see, this is the basic difference. When you say the role of woman is, number one, to create the universe or to further up the activities of the universe, number one. Number two, to prepare the man for enlightenment or get out of the cycle of desires. Man cannot do himself. He cannot even understand this particular area of life because he is, chasing the status of intellectual world. He wants to achieve intellectual heights, and that is followed or accompanied by ego, arrogance. You see, the heat in the nature, aggressiveness. To cool it down, to keep it at low level, it is the wife or the woman, she plays that role to balance it. So that the development also continues and these negative elements are also nullified through her love. Because that part, she has the capacity to love or compassion. A lot of compassion, it comes from, because she lives at the heart level. Man lives at the head level. So she is to this coolness, her coolness. She will pass it on to the husband, cool him down, and not only this, he also starts then distributing that love. Before that, if you see, before marriage, if you see a boy, and after marriage, say maybe after 10 years, you see the same boy. And you feel the difference that he is smiling, he is excited, he is helping people. He is a different person altogether because he got those things filled up, which were vacuum earlier. This vacuum is filled by the woman. So your family duties are also covered, your procreation is also over. Now she retires at 50 from your life and from nature's life also. She won't be able to produce anymore. After 50, before 50, she is free from her duties. Now, this is the most important part. Before that, she must create detachment in the mind of the husband. This is, when all the duties are fulfilled, now you have to prepare yourself for liberation of the desire, from the desires. So she creates an aversion, which we again misinterpret. We try to locate, move out to another options. But this is the crux of nature. If you welcome this detachment or aversion, then you see your strengths are totally different. And then you grow on spiritual heights with a very fast rate. And she is accompanying you. It is not that she has left you. No. Now she becomes a friend here. So she has different roles to play. As a woman, as a wife, she plays different roles. So that at the end of 50 years, you enter the cycle of devotion. And devotion is possible only through love. Arrogance is not accepted there. She only teaches you, fills your pot. Continuously she keeps filling it so that you turn into a feminine character. Emotionally, you become so compassionate, you love everybody. When you say, turn yourself 100% to devotions. So you can see, she has converted you from a male to again in a female characteristic and forced you to enter devotion. Without this devotion, you cannot get detached from the desires. There is a difference. This is the basic difference. And then, in this meantime, your mother created you with different forms of coverings. Your wife, that means, and she gave you the basic knowledge of life. Dharma, what you call it, dharma, or your commitments, in your personal commitments to yourself, was taught to you by your mother. Your wife teaches you the desires, the world of desires, how to understand, how to hold it, and how to get out of it. She is the creator of this, all this, you can say, coverings, and she is the one to will teach you how to get out of these coverings. You know, see that she is a two dual roles she plays. Other woman will not do it, only wife. Wife is committed to you. Other woman will give you the options to move away from your commitment. So there is a basic difference because she is not committed to you or your growth. She is committed to your vertical growth. Your horizontal growth stops at 50, then you move together. Then the same form of the woman, when it comes in, suppose you have a daughter. In the next generation, how a woman enters your life as a daughter. Now in India particularly, when you look at the daughter, you have the idea of how she will go away after marriage. You know, automatically you have that feeling. And particularly in India, we offer it to the husband. You know, it is not just a ceremony. Daughters are offered, you know, like gifts. Irreversible gift. It cannot come back to me. For the lifetime, it belongs to the husband. So this idea will always be alive in your mind. So this idea creates a sense of detachment. Oh, and what is the use of this? Finally, she will go. You see, so this daughter, again, she as a woman, she is teaching you, adding your sense of detachment. The next generation is your granddaughter. It talks. She gives you a sense of empire. See, this is your empire, how much you have grown in life. So when we say Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya or Aishwarya, there are 4 parts of the wisdom. At all the 4 levels, you see the woman working for you to give you the sense of this 4 levels and makes you elevation. I mean, move only towards elevation, not towards the liberation. Without entering any religion, you have 4 pursuits in life. We call it Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Dharma is commitment, Artha is wealth, or all consumables, including relations, everything is consumable in that level. Kama is desire, and finally the liberation. In all these stages, today we have basically the wealth and desires. You know, the materialistic life, we follow only these 2 things. Everybody is after the money and fulfilling the desires, but all worldly desires, nothing beyond this, because there is no commitment. I don't want to die. I am old man, I don't want to die. I am a sick man, I don't want to die. I am a poor man, I don't want to die. But if you ask me why you want to live, what you want to achieve, I have no answer to it. Also. Then what is the difference between life and death? There is no difference. Whether you live or you don't live, you don't know why you are living. This is main thing. This is where the answer to the life comes in. Where what is your commitment to yourself? When you commit, then you commit to everybody else, not to yourself. This is the main idea, that you commit to yourself means, in the sense of communication, as I said, I use my body, I use my intellect, I use my heart. you use your body and your mind and your heart to listen to me, then who is talking and who is listening? So when you commit to yourself means you commit to yourself, you commit to everybody else who is with you. And you come at one level with everybody else. Then nobody is an outsider, everybody is part of you. And this, I think, comes to you through the mother when she synchronizes your soul with the human body. Thank you.
I know that really your talk is potentially obviously much longer. You've thought about this a very long time. And there's a lot of stuff there. The first thing that occurred to me as you were talking was that you began by talking about knowledge, distinguishing wisdom from knowledge and information. We're a very information-obsessed society globally now. We have information, media, and we've downplayed both knowledge, but also even particularly wisdom. And some years ago I was involved in a project of schools around the planet. By schools I mean institutions of higher learning, known collectively as wisdom schools. And we had a conference in London at the Theosophical Society headquarters. People from Russia, from Israel, from Scotland, Fintorn. There are special places around the planet that are trying to develop a pedagogy for wisdom, as opposed to a pedagogy for information. And we were trying to come together and compare and contrast, how we can do that. One of them came from the Mayan culture in Latin America, which is, another ancient wisdom tradition. So it's just, there is a conversation happening on the planet. This Castle of the Muses is trying to be a node in that network of wisdom schools. And I know that the Jain community in India, which is how we met, they are trying to contribute to that as well. And I think we could do more. That group, we set up a group, a network of wisdom schools. It's never met since.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never quite gelled. So I'm just flagging that up as my response to that. There is a project there that we can reactivate,
yes,
get it going again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's long overdue.
Because it is important, because in the sense, all the important decisions of life are taken through wisdom,
Yes.
not through knowledge or information.
No, you need the
Information keeps changing, you
get
see.
there.
The difference is, the information keeps changing. What
Yeah,
information you had in the morning
Sure.
may not remain the same in the
And also
evening.
the knowledge
So
changes.
the knowledge also changes, and knowledge also, you can say, restricts you to a given subject.
Yeah,
basically.
it's limiting,
Yes, limiting. But
So,
wisdom,
but
unlimited.
we have to, we need to have a serious conversation
yes.
about what's the distinction between knowledge and
Wisdom will always come from inside. When you sit down in the meditation,
Yeah.
you synthesize everything.
Yes,
And
that was
you
the
see,
point you made,
Yeah, so then it comes back when it's in a given situation, then it reacts to the situation.
So it's the consciousness that
Consciousness,
does the synthesizing.
yes, in a given situation,
Yeah.
surely,
Yeah.
and not abrupt.
Well, that's what Socrates said. He said all wisdom is about remembrance.
With that wisdom, you draw a line of vision. That is the next step. And wisdom is, without wisdom, no vision.
What is the Sanskrit word for wisdom?
Pragya.
Pragya. Yeah.
Pragya means where you can enter the invisible areas of your life.
Right.
You see, that means you have developed your pragya or your wisdom.
Okay.
Is matured.
Right. Then you talked about relationships. You talked about gender, male, female. Some of the pressure on young people now when they get married and some of the difficulties. I've written a book called Wisdom Affairs. You may not know this, I don't know if you've had a chance to look, which is proposing a different way of relating across the genders. Why can't we have relationships that put wisdom at the core, rather than, people have relationships for all kinds of reasons. If we said, no, I'm going to have a wisdom relationship with you.
Yes. But you see, to reach that stage, First thing you have to at least understand what we are. Why we want to sit together, live together. In this Vedic literature, you will understand that the man and woman are created by the reactions or the interactivities of the sun and lunar. I mean the moon. Woman is produced through moon, and all our mental cycles and they are all controlled by the moon. Man is born through the interactions of the sun, not through the moon.
Scientifically speaking.
Scientifically, I am talking.
Right. But that's if I'm a hardcore physicist.
Yes, maybe you have to sit with me.
It's going to have trouble.
No trouble.
It's a literal thing.
I agree, but then you have to go to meditation. What else you can say? All the religious formulas, all the religious codings and decodings are done only through meditation, not in the laboratory. The modern science will go to the laboratory.
I hear what you're saying. Can I move on to my next point? This is a brief
No. Before that, I want to make it very clear that male and female, whether man or woman or in any other species, they are governed by the sun and the moon. This is, if we do not understand this, and our cycles, you can see, in the man and woman both are governed. Even our seed is created in the 28th-day cycle of the lunar month. At the end of the month, then your one complete seed is completed. At the 28th day. Now you see, if we don't understand this part, so finally we are the storehouses of the seeds. We can't produce anything, the seeds will produce. We are storing those seeds. You are allowing the seeds to interact. That's all. We are only the medium. Nothing beyond it. And this, if we must learn this nature working inside the body. Without that, this is the wisdom which teaches. If you have the wisdom, you will understand what you are. Then the course of life will be different. If you don't understand, it shows there is no wisdom.
Well, the alchemy, carries this knowledge of the sun and the moon.
Yeah.
The solar and the lunar, and also the different elements that are infused with solar and lunar energies. I'm just, in my own mind, right, as a philosopher, I wonder whether these are just archetypes, as Carl Jung would have said, the solar archetype and the lunar archetype. Because there are some cultures that see the sun as female. In ancient Lithuania, they see the sun as female and the moon as masculine. In the desert culture of the Semitic tribes, in the time of Abraham, the moon was a male god, Sin. And in Mecca, in Muhammad's time, the moon was actually the male god, which is why, the shrine in Mecca was actually a temple to the lunar deity who was male. So all I'm saying is that the psyche of man, as you should know from your Jain studies, every truth is also true in its opposite form. Anikant Vada teaches that every fact that can be affirmed is also true in the mirror of its own reflection. So, all these elaborate cosmologies that are created by different cultures.
No, but in Vedas it's very clear.
Oppositely true.
Thomas, I'm sorry for interruption. But in Veda it is clear, whether it's a man or woman, both contain the same elements.
That's the animus and the anima.
You are half the male, half the female.
Sure.
She is half the male, half the female. The difference is, your masculine part is 51, and feminine part is 49. In this case, it is the reverse. She has higher level of the masculinity, femininity. But you have everybody has both the characteristics. So you have to grow, compensate. When we say we are complementary to each other, means same. If she is lacking part of masculinity, you are completing it, and she is completing our femininity. So we come to normal 50-50 level.
So what do you think the goal is in spiritual evolution? Is it to grow towards androgyny, or should we celebrate the difference? Androgyny is where you have both male and female. Ultimately.
Finally, with our union, we should be able to live peacefully. That means fulfilling all our desires, and in the end of life, or we have no more desires. We are happy enough, settled in life. So that is the goal. Basically, is to live in peace. And that is possible only when your desires are fulfilled. So longer you are bothered about desires, I don't have this, or I want this, or I want this, you will never settle in peace. But when both are together with that same wisdom, that we have to together go out of this world of desires, this is the stage of liberation. Liberation means free of desire, nothing else. It is not enlightenment-like thing. It is just a worldly life without bothering about any serious desire in life.
Okay.
And it is not possible otherwise.
Right. Okay. Can I weave in my next comment now?
Next.
Which was you talked about the nature of karma.
Yes.
You spoke very eloquently about
Yeah,
karma.
yeah.
And this is a very interesting topic. We could speak all day about karma.
Oh yeah, life is karma.
And you were saying that sometimes you do actions that the fruit isn't found for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
If we're going to get peace on the planet, right? I mean, the negative karma of all the past wars, World War II, World War I,
Yeah.
millions of people have died.
Yeah.
We're speaking here in 2011. There are people being blown up as we're speaking here, right? And there are people plotting in their minds, using their intelligence to plot the next terrorist bombing or the next, You used to be in the Royal Air Force, bombing with planes and so on.
In 71.
You've been involved in that yourself, My question to you as a philosopher, and you've become a philosopher from having left the Air Force, you're a living example of someone who used to use the sword, but now you use the pen, right? Can you tell all the other people out there in the military, can you give me a message for them, how they could make that journey from thinking that you have to use the sword to achieve victory, to bring peace, because most military types I've met are good people. They think they're doing the right thing. They're honourable people. I've met generals. I've met heads of senior people in the military.
Top brasses.
Yeah. They're good people actually, and noble. It's a very brave thing to do, to be a soldier. But what I'm interested in is how can we get the next level, which is to use that courage and bravery and intelligence. Military are very intelligent people,
Yes.
to work for peace and to solve conflicts non-violently by clearing up the karma. You see, most of these conflicts involve bad karma. And mostly it's both sides are to blame. Look at India, Pakistan. There's bad karma on both sides. Right?
Yes.
Like, look at Kashmir. It's a tragedy, So what I'm asking is, it's a miracle really. What's the secret for purifying karma rapidly? That then we can get the military intelligence types to actually make friends. And see that it's much cleverer to make peace than war. There we are, that's my question.
The secret is simple. If you think you are the doer of a thing, doer of a karma, all the problems starts here. If you think you are not the doer, situation demands, your wisdom says do it and forget it. You don't bother about what the result will be. Then things are different, mind it. We say in Gita, the very popular phrase, no, don't say phrase, it says, Karmanevadhikaraste mahaphaleshu kadachana. You do whatever you want to do, but do not wait for the results. Because in your hand, what is in your control is only what you can do. Results, not in your hands. There are many different factors affecting the results. So, if you don't see the results, you will be disappointed. Don't wait for it. Then you are not the doer of it. You don't get the fruits also because you have shifted this to the Almighty. How? I will give you an example which I think will clear all the sides of your question. You have a seed in your hand, say mango seed. Now you take this mango seed, put it in the ground, sow it, and put mud on this. After 1 week, when you remove this mud, what you see? That the seed is broken into two. And a small sapling started coming out from this. There is a message for us that if you want to create something new, something bigger in life, first thing is you should be ready to sacrifice your own self. Forget about don't bother about your existence. So long as you keep yourself in the refrigerator, no new creation is possible. So when the seed breaks it itself open, then only the new plant starts coming up. After 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, you see the huge tree in tons of kilo weight. Who sustains it? Then you see there are new mangoes and thousands. Then there is a juice in every mango. Then there is a sweetness in every mango. From where it comes? Who gives? Who is responsible for it? The same seed. So basically it is this energy of this seed which is flowing through the tree and which is responsible to create new mangoes and new juices and the sweetness and the same quality of the mangoes.
But wisdom is when people know what that essence is, isn't it? Inside the seed.
That word, yeah.
The innerness.
That means what really...
Many people don't realise that, do they?
What?
They're not in touch with their innermost essence.
No, but somebody has to at least understand how things are happening. When this seed is working in the tree and creating new seeds, what does it mean? It means the tree is not responsible in itself for whatever is happening. It is the seed which is responsible to create new seeds and new fruits. So I am the tree. I am not the seed. I am seed for the next generation, but you see my seed and then his seed and you go back and you see where you reach.
I mean, Buddha talks about seeds of enlightenment. We can plant seeds of enlightenment, right? If enough seeds of enlightenment are planted, I think the theory goes something like this. By having this conversation, we're planting seeds of enlightenment, right? Which could be reaped.
That means, you see, the simple thing is that whatever is happening, I am not the doer. Don't take
So
that on your own head.
Yeah. Sure, but it's difficult.
Tell me.
Because obviously the Muslim fighters in Kashmir would say they're surrendered to Allah. They're not the doers of their deeds, right? They're surrendered to God. Yeah, and the yogi resistance people that are also fighting for India will say the same. What I'm asking, and it's an impossible question, is how can we reconcile the people who are fighting with that level of detachment already? What's the next level we can take them to?
The next level is to create a sensitivity for the human heart.
Okay, bring it back down a bit.
Naturally, because they have gone to one extreme. We don't want any extremes, but at least they should be in a midway. We have to bring them to midway.
Right.
We need not make them all the yogis. No, we want they should have.
Because sometimes you can be a yogi who's detached, and almost you don't have compassion for life anymore. That's the problem of the extreme.
But if you are on but once you are on one extreme, again you may fall prey of something. You don't have to be on any extreme.
No. So you're advocating the middle way. Now, thank you. I can relate to that. That was Aristotle's point. That virtue is in the mean.
Yes.
In the middle way.
In the middle.
And Buddha said that too.
Yeah.
Buddha taught the
Yes.
middle way. He was an Aristotelian before Aristotle. So I've got another question for you, which is, if you know, it's just a topic here, but it was a complicated question. You were talking about the nature of the soul and how the woman, the mother, is in the period of gestation, is like communing with the soul
Yes.
of the baby coming in. She's the first educator. So you were in effect saying that if every mother was effective, doing an effective job,
Yes.
you know, we'd all be born pretty enlightened because the mother would have kind of taught us.
At least we will all be good human beings.
Right.
If you don't say enlightened, at least we all will be good human beings.
Right.
Caring for each other,
But of course the
living
problem-
with love among the society.
Yeah, the problem is that different women, different girls, I mean, some girls, I mean, I've taught in girls' schools, you know, in Britain,
In
there
this-
are pregnancies at
We are all
12,
together,
13.
basically.
Yeah, but some women are not prepared for it. They get pregnant through you know, a very young age, and they don't have any kind of depth of understanding. So obviously, whereas you might get a woman who's really wise, travelled all over the world, conceives a child in her 40s and is ready for it, or, you know, there's a whole... So you get the whole spectrum, don't you, of human
Yeah,
nature.
naturally, because there are millions of people living on this earth.
Sure, so there are people as
Sure,
we speak
sure.
now being conceived and stuff. So I'm not sure. I mean, you presented a very idealised vision.
It is only ideal
It's an
situation.
ideal vision of woman.
Honestly, it is idealized, but
Yeah.
because when we say everybody has to pay for what he or she has done, the karmas,
Yeah,
you know, the other situation automatically will remain on this earth. Negative aspects of the life
right.
will also continue to remain on this earth. It cannot be in heaven at all. All types of karmas, all types of
Yeah.
fruits, so there will be good people coming up again and again, bad people will keep coming up and upon.
Do you believe there once was a Sat Yuga? Sat Yuga.
That's
Or
what
do
you
think it's a myth?
in the scriptures, all
Yeah.
right.
Do you think there was a Sat Yuga? once
Could
on
be.
this planet? Yeah.
Could be, because human beings were not as developed. They were born and they died. There was no activity like this to what we have today. They were living in the forest, eating the fruits, whatever you call it,
Like the
and
rishis.
then dying. This is so simple.
So that was the golden age, yeah.
And today, finally, we are also doing the same thing, but the form is different. Today, it's a modern jungle, forest only, in a concrete jungle. We are also free, in the same way we keep moving, in the same free manner, with our own will and wish. You know, we don't want any restriction on us from any part, whether from society or from law. We don't want to even abide by the laws. We want to break all the laws and live like that.
Well, because the Atman inside us all
Same,
knows
exactly.
that it's the creator of the universe, so it resents being
It is
told
it's also trying to fight or struggle to liberate.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I say. So
Which is
either
probably why people do violence, because they fall into error thinking that for their own liberation they need to destroy Maya. So the people that blew the Twin Towers up, 9/11, whoever it was, they're making a metaphysical error by thinking you can do it with violence.
the day soul is formed, from that day onwards, the struggle starts. It continues in 8.4 million types of species on this earth. There is this struggle to free itself again and merge back in the original matter. This is the struggle of life.
So have you ever met anyone alive that you would say was enlightened, fully liberated, yet still in the human form?
Not to me.
You've not met anyone?
No, no.
Gurus, teachers?
They may claim. There are many people who claim it, but I know. No, they are not.
Do you think it's possible to be fully enlightened and stay in a human form?
Possible is, of course, I can agree that it is possible, but maybe one in billions or trillions, I don't know. But it is possible. That means you are not, what you are trying to is to get satisfied with all your desires, fulfillment, so that you don't crave for any more desire. And you live in peace. It is possible. But to get enlightened or what, reach the heavens, or they recycle, breaking the cycle of rebirth. This I don't know. Because I have not seen anybody breaking this barrier. I have not heard of it around me.
Okay. I've got another question for you. You talked about the idealized woman and the importance of the mother. And then you talked about the goddess, the archetype of goddess. I wondered if you've ever met or spoken to any Roman Catholics, Christians, because they have the archetype of the Virgin Mary. Have you ever met any Indian Catholics and talked about the mother?
See, the concept of mother in India is very clear. I mean, there is no ambiguity at all about it.
Right.
When you read in Navratra every year we celebrate 9 days worshipping the mother, and in that worship there is the act of the mother in the life, role. First this, second, third, fourth, fifth, in the chronological order, how it works in the life, in different forms. As I said, it could be your mother also will work in the same manner, wife also will work in the same order, daughter will also work for you in the same order. But the chronological order is given.
Right.
So I just said that she enters through creating a desire. The first step is creating a desire to enter somebody's life.
Yeah.
So, likewise, there is a chronological order of how this works in everybody's life. What is the role, how it is performed. So, very clear, I mean, you don't have any confusions. You can draw them. If your, say, desire is fulfilled, what will happen to you? If it is not fulfilled, what will happen to you? If you have more, you want to create more powers. You see, you grow on another line. Then, if you are more than satisfied with the desire, you will go. Greed will enter your life. So, likewise, you see at every stage, you see both in positive and negative sides of aspects of life. Then you will see who is pulling you back from negative aspects and keeping the track that you are on the positive track only. If that support is not there, it is not guaranteed that you will remain positive always throughout your life. That is the force to pull you back. Don't move out, don't deviate from the right course. And then you see, I can give you the whole analysis of this right from the first step to the last step, everywhere. And again,
so the mother is like the archetype. If you want.
Now we say mother is like an energy. Say mother is like an energy.
Right.
Not the physical form. Forget.
Which is the instruction manual that comes with being a human being.
Yeah. So yes, you say like this, mechanical, but not in the physical form.
No, it's a
so I understand what you said, but yes, the role is in the energy level, at an emotional and spiritual level.
You ought to meet a friend of mine. I mean, he was a chap called Duns Scotus. He was the most important philosopher who ever lived in Scotland. Have you heard of him? Duns Scotus. He lived in about 1300 in medieval times, and he loved the Virgin Mary. And he was a Christian, and he understood the power of the goddess.
Goddess, yeah.
But he was a very great philosopher, what we call a scholastic. But he believed, unlike Thomas Aquinas, who thought we could get to God through thinking, Thomas Aquinas was like Shankara in India. He thought you could think your way to God. Duns Scotus said, no, you can't just think your way to God. You have to feel and act.
Yes.
So you have your will has to be focused on service, good action. You have to earn the fruits of karma to get to God. And there was a big debate in European philosophy about, was Aquinas right, was Scotus right? And it seems to me as if you're more on the Scotus side with the purification and fulfillment of desire. We have to purify our desire. You can't get rid of all desire. Buddha was maybe exaggerating, go beyond desire to get nirvana. You can't do that. But we can purify it.
Last evening we were talking about prayer and the research.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, you have to focus it.
That you create a mental environment for that particular subject.
Yeah.
And stick to it.
Yeah, but you have to have the will to stick to it.
That is commitment, not only will. Commitment.
Yeah, that is commitment. Is
the commitment.
The will. Yeah,
so, then your body will not act.
Which is true love. If you have true love for something, you will do
but
it.
The true love again is difficult because then you don't expect anything. Mind it.
Well, just
this,
global enlightenment and peace, that's all
again you will say it is not possible in the worldly life. But true love means for my sake, for my own happiness I love. I do not make you happy or unhappy. I am not concerned.
I'm talking about unconditional love.
This is what I mean.
Yeah,
there is no expectation back.
No, it's unconditional.
That is unconditional love.
Because it's the force behind the
that's
true. That's what I mean by true love.
This is the God itself.
Yeah, but that's what we are on this planet.
Yeah,
We've just forgotten that, you see. So that's what my next question is. Yes, you talked about Shakti. You talked about the female energy as the creator of the universe.
Yes.
Shakti is the word for that. The Celts had the same understanding. In the Druid path of the ancient Celtic religion, you're from a long way away, but this is a Druid retreat centre here. Okay, so we also believe that and the goddess tradition has been suppressed in the West. Sadly, we've lost it. You've kept it going in India.
No, you can see. You forget the gods and goddesses. You see the position. How you see the position of a woman in a house, in the family. Everything moves around her. You see. We may talk anything, but practically you see, the whole life cycle moves around the woman, not around the man.
Sure.
Even children,
She's the main
husband,
plot.
parents. Exactly. She is the hub or axle around which everything
because
happens.
it's life that is the hub, isn't it? And the woman is life.
In life, that is exactly what I say.
Yeah.
We are all responsible to, and she controls. Another thing she can do, 10 things at a time.
Multitasking.
You and me can't do. Honestly, you give us 3 things and all 3 will be wrong. And she does.
Yeah.
Anthropologists
have studied human evolution and discovered.
Exactly. So she is definitely more. Another thing, she talks basically all indirect languages, like the goddess. I don't follow what she says. I am just a fool before her. Let us see very honestly, if you put it that way. We don't know the indirect languages at all, those formulas. Indirect languages, which you say you convey through the energies. No, you don't need words to talk. They don't need words.
Telepathy and stuff. Yeah.
They through gestures they pass on all the messages.
Women teach the babies how to speak. So
exactly. So I can't do and you can't do that.
Well, we were both taught to speak by our mothers. And that's why she's the goddess of speech. Yeah. Talking of speaking, let's open the floor up. Victoria, you have
to complete my 21,000 words that females are supposed to want to do every day. 21,000 words, allegedly, compared to 12,000 in the male. Is this something to do with the fact that we are more allegedly communicators, but there are less women known as philosophers in history than there are men? Why may this be?
My problem is the reverse one. Whether it's a boy or a girl, it is taught by the mother. Who teaches?
It
Mother?
shouldn't matter whether it's a boy or
Okay.
a girl.
Now,
First of all, we were both. We were split later in pre.
no.
Yeah.
Suppose you have a boy and daughter, son and daughter, so you will teach both. Okay? You are educating them. When they grow, and if the boy misbehaves with any other woman, it is whose fault?
Hypothetical, really. That's general, too general for me. I'm throw it open to the floor.
This is the problem which I am talking,
Right.
that if the mother is doing that role.
Can you, Gulab, can I just try and pin you down here to one particular aspect of her question, right? Which she asked a lot of questions, right? The one you didn't answer is why, if women are so wise, right? You've idealised them.
Oh yes.
So amazing.
Okay.
Why are there so few women philosophers compared to men? In Jainism and Buddhism and Hinduism and so on, and Christianity, there's loads of men philosophers and learned people. What are the women doing? And is it a problem?
I
They're
think.
being oppressed, that's what.
No.
What's your answer to your own question?
Well, I feel that a lot of them have been oppressed depending on what age that we're talking about, what era.
Like middle age, they might have been burned as witches and
Well,
stuff.
of course, but before that, and also up to the Victorian times when a woman who wrote a book, for example, had to be Mrs. So-and-so. We have classical writers here who have been told, like Jane Austen, that they had to be just the wife of the man. So in certain places, like in India too, I believe, that although women are revered, because I've been east and I've been further east, and the more respected I got was far east, but Middle East, no respect. That's in a nutshell. Okay. But when it comes to philosophy being revered, I think that a lot of women were not even allowed to be educated, and that was the sufferance really on one level.
But if
Depending on what country we're talking about.
if I'm interpreting what Gulab was saying, and obviously you didn't hear the whole talk, but
No, I wish I had.
what he was saying is that actually women have been training those philosophers all along. So the mothers and wives, and that's been their role behind history,
Indeed.
has been, to advance. Okay, the men have been the mouthpieces and the speakers, but it's women pulling the strings behind the scenes. And I think that's what Gulab was basically.
And the writers. I mean, you need to be educated to
Yes, that's true.
write.
That's true.
And to record philosophers, you need to be able to write. And
There-
Yeah, you
there
have
are
to
a
have
lot of-
literacy.
yeah.
A lot of people that
philosophers.
weren't literate that are very bright, as you know.
Yes, yeah.
But also, you were saying something about pulling the strings. As somebody who is absolutely not a manipulator, I don't feel that I am consciously, and I have never been called one. But I have been put in the same thing as when people have said all women manipulate, by men who've been hurt by certain kinds of women. Because we have to remember there are different types. One size does not fit all about women here and women there, does it?
No,
Any
there's
more
a
than
whole.
No.
Yeah.
And the same with men.
So there are manipulators. There are people that are cruel. They're just people that are cruel, basically. And
Of both
there are women-
genders.
both, absolutely.
But this school education does not mean anything. It doesn't create wisdom at all in human
But
beings.
education can
No,
stop violence.
even when there was no school.
Except when I'm head of religious studies.
No, say.
Then I smuggle wisdom in. That's great fun.
No, we go say 2000 years back. There were no such modern schools, but the wisdom was no less. Even with the mothers or
Well, the
fathers,
Virgin Mary was
No,
probably
did
illiterate,
you-
but she did quite a good job.
illiterate maybe in our language of the schools, but otherwise practical knowledge, practical wisdom is far greater in the woman.
Most of it
Then
comes
men.
through experience, surely. I
No,
mean, the school is
I know, not only this, by instinct,
and instinct, absolutely.
because I think to fulfill their role, God has given that automatically, it comes to them. It is with them. By birth you will see a 4-year young girl will take care of 1-year-old brother. If the boy is 4 year, girl is 1 year, the brother doesn't know what to do.
No,
Honestly I am telling you, this is
Yeah, they have an instinct. about-
instinct, yes. So
Yeah.
we
So
need
the playing the dolls thing. Is
we
very
need to
fundamental.
respect that instinct.
Right.
That's all. That is what we are not doing today. If we respect this instinct everywhere, the society will be far great. They can turn the whole world in one generation.
You see, can I just play devil's advocate a minute here? Because there's a potentially very interesting dialogue here.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's a certain type of feminist grew up in Britain in the 60s, 70s, okay, who wanted to throw out that instinct argument you've just
Oh, yeah?
And for them it was a political thing. They felt they'd been brainwashed into subservience because they were told for thousands of years they just had to play with dolls, have babies and be good mothers. And they were sick of that. They wanted to have jobs, have incomes, get a life, get an education. You know. So the whole feminist movement in Britain, there is one in India, I know, but you can tell me about it, kind of kicked off that argument that you've put forward about the instinct thing as you know, something to grow out of. And they thought they made progress by, you know, by sort of getting political equality, right? And probably they would say, no, we don't want to, you know, go back to that mothering role only. But I'm prepared to be convinced by you, and I'm sure, you know, they're open to reason. If you really think that is the way to get world peace, is to put women back in.
I will give you another example, which I went to US in '84 first time.
Right.
I went to one small newspaper office in Monroe, which is the next district to Chicago. And more than half the staff was female.
Right.
Reporters, editors, everybody was a woman. So when I entered, they all came together, and this movement was on in America, Women's Lib.
Right. Yeah, that's what
it was really hot in that period.
Yeah.
So they started firing me those questions straight away, you know.
Right.
I said, the woman is killing herself. Don't blame me today. Tomorrow you will feel it, what they have done to themselves. You know, we had, you know, this dialogue continued more than an hour.
Right.
You know, and I said, this is a very wrong step a woman is taking up. And finally the editor said in the end, Gulab, you are right. We also don't know where all these women carrying this flag. She said this, and then the next morning in the newspaper, this much big photograph, all these dialogue and all were written there.
What year was this that you were there?
Now,
when was this? Recently?
84.
84.
I'm talking about 1984.
Right.
Then what happens? That was the reaction of the woman for Women's Lib. In that reaction, there was a reaction of men, which nobody noted. When I went to France, I was talking to my friend's daughter. She was about 27, 28. Then I asked her, when you don't have plans to get married? She started crying. I said, what happened? Kehta, no boy wants to get married today. Then I have enough.
French? Was she French?
She French.
Right.
I'm just telling. So he thinks I will get good money, I'll earn money, I'll have my house, cars, and then I can buy any woman here. I can call any woman for 3-4 years, change it. You know, that was her reaction. She was crying. We can't dream of having a family, you know, in our lifetime.
But that's surely the economic pressures of it.
No. What do you mean in this economic pressure?
Well, I mean the recession, the lack of, you know, there's been a banking crisis in the world. There's insecurity.
But no. Why the boy wants to play with 10 women in one lifetime? Why he doesn't? What his statement is not. Say it is anti-social statement. I can hire any woman for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years and then change it. What does it mean? You see the arrogance of that man, or say the reaction to women's lib. You go to hell, I'm not concerned.
So you think that might have been as a result of...
Exactly. That is what I am saying. Finally...
We're talking about karma again then, and the fruits of karma.
I think...
Also, it's true, isn't it, that some people get fed up with women because some of us are very boring after 3 years, and that's just life, isn't it?
I am telling you, you can imagine.
No comment.
Do not be afraid.
We're talking about the honeymoon period.
The honeymoon period.
Everybody has, some people are addicted
No.
to it.
You should ask your husband about that. Do you want to comment?
3-7.
No,
No,
I
because
think.
some men are
Let us
addicted
see.
to the honeymoon period, aren't they?
Right.
When they're falling in love, it always reaches a plateau and it stops. Then you have to start learning to get to know each other properly. That's when it all kicks off and goes seriously wrong, and you want to start a new relationship with another person so you can have that high again.
Right.
You know, it perpetuates itself over and over again.
The first phase is
Some people never get any
No,
further.
now the thing has
Or they
changed.
stick together and hate each other for the next 30 years, which is another form of
Yeah.
war, isn't it?
That was a three marriage formula. No? Earlier it came in. No, but now you see, finally where we go and stop. We have reached the stage where we don't want to marry each other. And we want to have a live-in relationship. We don't want to get married, we don't want to have children, we don't want to reach families. Now this is the stage where we have reached, and all the laws, whether in America or in Europe or in any country or my country, they all support this type of living. Now where is the human respect left for each other? Why all these laws are taking care of this type of relationship where there is no respect?
Well, the problem we have in Britain, I don't know if it's the same in India, is we have a benefit system that actually encourages people to be single-parent families rather than to actually be married. You can get more money if you're a woman by having a child, not having a partner, but just staying single, which is ridiculous, and the government is trying to reform that. But it's
No,
just the
this
way it's been for the
is
last 20 years.
this is a materialistic approach to life. What I am saying is, man without woman, woman without man, both are incomplete. There can be no peace in life if they live alone. This is my guarantee.
Well, that's
Because
the tantrum.
they both are incomplete.
When I was speaking, I was lucky enough to have a conversation with you in my tent. Sounds terribly good, doesn't it? And we were able to speak a little bit about age groups and cycles, and I mentioned about the most dangerous time for a man to go off the rails. It happens maybe 2 or 3 times, but at the moment in the West it's 17 to 23 and then 23 to 28. His hormones, his mind, it's all to do with age cycle of how the behaviour comes in.
7-year cycle.
Well, we
This is what he said.
Yes,
Yeah.
which I respect is happening with maybe yourself as or not as we speak, but because people have different types of cycles and different ages. But
So what do you mean by go off the rails? You mean these
well, when
young
the man
men...
comes back, I mean, like yourself, or maybe Nick, or maybe yourself. I've been with somebody for 31 years. I've seen him go through changes of things that he's wanted at one point and doesn't want anymore, then, should we just say. And it's a growth of the plant. It's more seeds and more branches growing on your own tree, isn't it? And so those other seeds can develop while you're still on that branch. But you can feel bad about, or feel bad about having had desire that you may not have anymore, that maybe wasn't beneficial to others. But you're not going to kill yourself because of it. But you're hoping, you can only look forward and hope that you improve because you want to, through what you said is your will.
Basically, no. Our idea is to fulfill the commitment of our life. You see, and the first requirement is that in our personal life we are all peaceful and happy. If not, then we are not going to fulfill our commitments, whatever we have, whatever our dreams are. This is where so that we forget relationship is just natural, all happy, go, marry, life, and we are all concentrating on fulfilling the goals or our commitments. You are able to do it because there is no disturbance around you. If there is little disturbance, you will say, no, I can't work this. I have to run out of this house. You see, this is what I mean. So, if there is...
No, we need peace inwardly to be able to fulfill our
Yeah,
social
exactly.
functions.
Ego
And
can close down, can't it, over a period of years? You can consciously close your ego down in order to not be desirous of the things that aren't good for man. It's wanting to that matters, isn't it?
I think majority of the people still think that they need to get married and stay together.
Tradition. Are we talking about tradition here?
A traditional human heart, it craves to love somebody and to get loved or to be loved. That's all. So, if you live alone, it is not possible. A simple reason.
Well, so
When
can I ask you a question now? I mean, you've worked with the Jains in India. I mean, what do you think of the idea of celibacy, spiritual renunciation? In Christianity and in Jainism and Buddhism, some, both men and women, there are both men and women who renounce sexuality
I know.
and marriage.
But this is
Are you
again...
saying they're wrong?
No.
Are you
Simple.
saying they're wicked?
No, simple. This is the basic human desire, or say natural desire in every species.
Sure, we all want to sort
Okay.
of procreate, but if
But-
they're sublimating that for a higher cause,
No, it is not possible.
And
It is
spiritually-
not possible, I am telling you. Get satisfied, then you will be averted. If not, then you will have to suppress it, forcefully.
but the monks
Then it will explode any day without me.
The Jain monks that you've known, Mahapragya,
Now
he
forget
was
all
never
the
married.
names. I don't name it.
He was never married.
No, don't name it. I tell you. There is only one way, that is to suppress the desire.
You
see?
don't believe in sublimation.
No.
Do you know what is the Sanskrit word for sublimation? It's in alchemy too. We sublimate a substance to its highest essence.
Maybe I don't know, but say you are sacrificing at the cost of another thing, or you are achieving something at
No,
the
you're
cost.
you're taking it to its highest essence.
I
Like
understood
when
what
make
you...
alcohol,
I
take
agree. I understood.
barley and you-
Yes. But this celibacy, basically, it's very strong desire. Because...
Well, Freud called it the libido. In psychoanalysis, it's called libido, the energy of life.
Energy of life.
But
So-
you can do with that many different things.
You
Libido
can
is
see
the
that
life
then it
force.
needs a very high degree of practices. It's not said that simple. In meditation, when you sit down,
Yeah.
are you able to forget your body? Are you able to forget the thought process? Your mind is zero. I mean, you see, you have to go to the greater, and then
You need
your
a bit of
emotion.
training to get there.
It's a very, very hard training. I mean,
Sure.
finally,
Yeah.
you have to get rid of your emotional strength, liking and dislikings. Then that means you have crossed the barriers.
Equanimity.
That means you have crossed the barriers.
Sure.
So there are either you go to that rigorous cycle or fulfill all the desires and get out of it. That's what I said. In a normal person, without going for renunciations, around the age of 50, automatically gets averted to this relationship and these desires. So don't look for options. This is the problem where you create. Otherwise, automatically you are celebrating.
Can I just share a thought with you? I think our culture, I can't speak for anybody, I think in the West, in Europe, there was a man called René Guénon, a Sufi, who wrote a book called The Reign of Quantity. We've become too obsessed with quantity and with manyness, numbers of desires. We want hundreds of this, thousands of that. I think, one desire satisfied, which is a very good quality desire, is worth 1,000 lesser desires.
Yeah.
We need to somehow educate people to go for quality over quantity.
But your media is doing the other way around.
Well, this is the
Your
problem.
TV
So
is
our
doing
education, because we're teaching mathematics as if it's the most important science, and maths is the science of number and quantity. We don't even have a subject that teaches quality. The only thing we come to is philosophy, and that's always downgraded, apart from at Eton and very, very good schools. So we've got a problem in the world, actually, because we become obsessed with numbers, quantity. I need 100 of that by then.
What is the medical science today? What is the medical science today? Only numbers.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is your BP, this is your cholesterol, this is all. Everything is put in
become-
the numbers.
Yeah, yeah. So numbers are
that
taking over the planet.
Only
I'm sorry,
mathematics.
it's all Pythagoras' fault.
And
He
it's not actually
apologised.
fame,
He
apparently.
didn't mean it.
I did a survey of 10-year-olds apparently recently, what they actually wanted to do, and they're apparently 75% said they want to be famous. That's the bottom line. They don't know why, but that's what they want to do. That's their goal. That's what they're looking towards, to being famous, because this is what's happening in the media now.
Well, it
It's putting
started in 1980,
people on with no talent in
1980,
anything at all
more or less.
can have 5 minutes of one of those and
Right.
stick them on there. All respect to you doing anything over there, and people want it. And they're craving
Well, we're all
it.
famous because we all made it
Yeah,
through.
yeah, but
I
you
would
know,
say
you
each
can-
one of us is a living miracle because it's the sperm
Sure.
that you are that got through to the egg out of
Mm.
millions and millions. And you've been on a cruise ship ever since.
But you don't crave to be watched, do you? Do you?
No.
Maybe
The
you do.
problem is,
I mean,
no,
I tell you, this planet is apparently famous throughout the entire
No, no.
Sure.
Because we're the only
Maybe
place
going
where,
into space
where
travel,
evil and
aren't we?
suffering happen in such big dollars. You know, people come here.
God has created you exception, There is no other
Yeah,
person
each of
like
us.
you.
Absolutely.
So, but
All unique.
we don't want to do anything exceptional in life. We copy each other. You see, this is the basic problem.
Well, come on,
Why do we
speak
copy?
yourself.
Why do we copy?
Well, you learn. That's how you learn when you're a child, by copy, surely, don't you?
No,
When
you
you're
learn.
told copy
You learn
someone
many
else's-
things from many places,
Yes, you learn from
but
your mother.
then you create your own.
I had a breakthrough enlightenment experience, recently. I wrote a poem about it. The whole universe is one huge process of copying, actually. Right now in your body, every cell, the proteins that make up the DNA structure, exist simply by copying. And there are these things called RNA and that go around. I mean, you...
Yeah, but the key point is the copy is imperfect.
That's the point.
Yeah.
And that's how evolution works.
That's
It's the little flaws in the system that come up with some new quirk. But, so when I saw that, you know how kids, they follow each other around, and then when one of them loses their phone, says, "Stop following me. You're always copying me." You met kids do that. And also that's what monkeys do. Monkeys, and we are, Darwin, was a
They
clever
just
man.
copied, yeah.
Monkeys just copy.
Just copy. Yeah.
And so do all the animals. The monkeys are the amazing copiers.
So we are copying the monkeys.
And we're taking it to a higher level. And ultimately we're trying to copy, Krishna and Buddha and Jesus. We're trying to find out who's the main man to copy. And there's a bit of an argument going on as to how we get there. But I think this copying instinct is very deep. And my final point is I discovered recently there's a goddess involved. If you go into words deeply, as I have, and I know you have, you always find a goddess under every word. I've got this book I haven't finished yet called Goddesses in Every Word. Right? You take a word like time or death or destiny, analyse its etymology, you'll find there's a goddess. Copying, there is actually a goddess, and it's called Ops. And she's the wife of Saturn, who's the goddess of Saturday. And is the goddess, she's Ops, is the origin of the word opulence. She was the Western equivalent to Lakshmi. She's the goddess of money and fertility, because fertility is about producing copies. I like that man. I'll copy him, have a baby. So, and also photocopying comes from the same root, ops, and also office. We all like offices. It's where you do official things. That all comes from ops. So there we are. The goddess is up to the tricks.
So how you think the producing a baby is copy? Impossible. Then how everybody is an exceptional?
Well, no, I mean
No.
genetically, it's a copy of the parents' genes, isn't it?
No two children are same.
No, there's
If it is a copy, they would be same, similar.
That's what
They are
evolution
not.
is.
Rather,
It's
they are opposite direction.
And all the souls that choose to come in are different, of course, even in twins, apparently, in some cases.
I'm a twin.
You're a twin.
Are you?
I'm an identical twin. Yeah.
Lovely.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we're
Is it your brother, the guy?
How did you manage the carbon copy?
That's not a-
You know?
You're not a carbon copy, you're yourself.
Ah.
I'm just had a reading for a twin, and I asked if she
Yeah.
knew that her...
No.
Yeah. No, there are a remarkable number of similarities though, even in the sort of mental school.
Is it male or female, your twin?
It's identical brother, so
Male.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. But you can't have a female identical twin.
no.
No.
Last evening we were talking on this copying.
It's weird.
That some people try to copy the Christ, or as you just said,
Sure,
somebody on Krishna or Rama, whatever names you give it,
sure.
they try to copy. That means, on one end, we want to live 5,000 years back, copying them,
Sure. We get stuck in time.
and only,
Very modern of you.
Not so good idea, is it?
I want to copy, I want to copy the exact words, you see. Jesus has said this, I will do this, or we must do this. We are trying to copy that part to religiously to live in the same era. And on the other side, we live in the modern era. This creates the highest order of confusion in the life. The duality, not duality, it's a real confusion. So when you copy, again, the two different worlds, it is not your own world which you are living then. You are living somebody else's life, which you are not meant for. You are not born to copy somebody and live like somebody else. It's better if you live like yourself, then you can become Christ, you can become anybody. But when you copy, you cannot become like anything else. You cannot become what you are.
But in Hindu temples all over India, there are people with a statue of Krishna and wanting to be absorbed into and become identical to Krishna. Are you saying that's wrong? They're stuck in the past and should, shut the temple?
I don't agree that we must copy Krishna or Mahavira, Buddha, or Christ, or Muhammad Sahib. No.
But we can copy
You
the
learn,
wisdom.
you can learn what they said,
You can take from
but
this,
you
learn from it without
translate
copying, can't you?
their saying, you
Into
translate
modern
it
time.
into the present time.
Yeah.
Translate
How they are applicable to us?
Sure, and that's the synthesis.
Not, the synthesis.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Well, that's the struggle going on in Islam.
And in synthesis, most of the sayings will be common.
Sure. Well, absolutely. When they come to that universal.
Yes,
wisdom.
exactly, sir.
Yeah.
This is what is my submission.
But that's the problem with understanding of Islam. That's why I'm doing a commentary on the Quran at the moment. Because many Muslims say you have to literally copy Muhammad. You have to wear a beard like him, you have to pray like him, you have to do everything he did.
No, very simple question.
Which is missing the point. What you just said is the real point, which is you copy the wisdom.
Thomas can live like Thomas at his best. If you want to live like Gulab or anybody, you can never be the best.
No.
You will be always lower than that. But when you live like yourself, you can be the best. You will be the best. This is what I mean.
Can I please ask you?
Oh, please.
If Muslims people believe in reincarnation and therefore they could go into their past lives and name themselves.
Well,
and
that's
so forth.
interesting. I mean, there is a lot of past life research being done.
No, so much, enough.
I've done
But
a lot of
some has been done in Turkey, particularly. And there have been cases of
No, in India also enough.
Muslims.
And even now today the psychiatrists
and
also.
accepting that they were somebody else.
Yeah, obviously they've come up with
And then
experimental
apologising
stuff.
for their, going because you can travel back there and redo it.
That, I mean,
Or
I
watch
think.
it anyway.
Well, it's funny you should say this because I have a friend who's a past life regressionist. She's the
So,
official past life regressionist for the institute here. She's just bought a house in Turkey, and we were trying to set up a training school in this house in Turkey.
Great.
I think
for
you already-
Middle Eastern people. So watch this space.
I
You
will
can come and help if
absolutely.
you want.
Well, I'd love to.
But
The American science psychologist Brian West has written so many books.
sure, there's
Only
people
on
doing-
the regression
no,
psychology.
scientifically,
Scientifically.
I think it's
Barbara
getting to the
Hand-Clow,
point.
if anybody's ever read her Alchemy of the Nine Dimensions, but her
Who's
second,
that?
Barbara Hand-Clow,
Right.
she is, amongst other things, a physicist of some sort, a great philosopher, but she went through her past lives and wrote a book called The Heart of the Christos, and she's been at Avebury, she's been a lot of places, she comes from America at the moment, but she is most extraordinary, gives you grisly things, all sorts of stuff, that is Absolutely. You must read it, please. I will read your books as well. But this is a phenomenon that is more people
now-
Can I ask another question then, of everybody here really, but you know, which I was going to ask earlier about the soul, right? And answers please, right? I can't work out the answer to this question, right? Is every soul that incarnates, that's everyone here in this room and all the millions that's on the planet now, right? Are we, and let's say we've all had previous lives, okay? Let's say everyone here has got a story, I don't know, some of us may know some of our former lives, you know. Is every soul that's currently on the planet now, was it created, A, at the same time? Like, do all souls on a world that are ever going to incarnate on that world, do they all get created at once? Right? Like a long time back, before the world was created. And if so, when and how? Right?
How many?
Or, and how many? And how do they estimate how many souls are needed?
How many do you mess up at one given
Oh, we're going to have, this planet's going to run for 4, it's some angel totting up the sun.
Yes.
4 billion hours.
Oh, you only got 2
Or,
minutes.
or our soul, and this is a question.
But I think it's a continuous process.
Or are souls newly created?
Yeah, no, it's a continuous process.
The creation of souls is...
Creation also continues and the merger also continues.
Okay, so where's it happening?
And how
Where
do
do
you
souls
know?
come from?
From the skies, nothing else, nowhere
From the
else to go.
skies.
When there was no world, when there was nothing, there was only the sky.
Palladians.
So how do souls get created in the
Yes,
sky?
yes, I think Vedas have all their answers given to that when there was nothing, when there is only one sky, then what are all the elements attached to the sky? What is the characteristic of the sky?
You're talking about
The sound.
space. Let's be scientific.
Space,
We're
okay,
talking about
space.
right? So we're talking
Okay.
about space is
Darkness
very
and
big.
space.
We know space is very big.
Oh yes. So it starts from the darkness.
Billions of light years.
Billions. I mean, when there was nothing means they say, number one, there is a characteristic of this space. That is sound.
Akash, you call it, do you?
Akash.
Space is Akash.
Akash.
Right.
And it is not possible. It needs sound for sustainability. The characteristic of Akash is sound. You know, 5
Sound is vibration, but
Vibration.
if you've only
Basically
got
vibration.
space, with all due respect, if you've only got space, how can you have anything vibrating? If it's
That's
just
what I am
empty
coming
space?
to. What all the other possibilities
That's
there?
time as well.
No.
Vibrations imply time.
Yeah, number one,
Frequency.
there is space, there is some matter
How did
in
that
the
get
space.
in?
In
Well,
this,
we just had a big bang. I mean,
no,
do you
no,
believe
no,
in
no,
the
no.
Big Bang?
Even in this space, there is some matter.
Yeah, no,
you-
it's full of matter.
Full of matter, that's what I am saying.
Yeah, yeah.
There is matter, there is pranas, there are the basic pranas
Subtle
or the basic elements or dynamic elements which keeps moving. When there is a space, there is air, there is movement in the vibration continues. On two way it is, to and fro. I mean it spreads, it shrinks.
Spirals, actually.
You know,
Yes, well,
this is the important part which creates life.
So that's where the souls are coming from.
Yeah,
whirling
this part, this is known as, we call it energy.
But
this
maybe
part.
souls are eternal. I mean, there's another theory, which is souls aren't created at all. They're eternal. And they actually did the creating. It's possible that we, the soul inside us,
Yeah.
is the thing that does the creating of everything else. That's another theory.
No, but finally,
And it's eternal. The inside world is the eternal thing.
Yes.
This stuff out there keeps changing.
no, we also keep changing. We are not same.
That was Plato's theory, by the way.
Everything keeps changing. In the morning, what we were thinking, we are not thinking today now. Everything is changing. Even our blood is changing, our breath is
Yeah,
changing.
all the physical stuff.
Everything,
But the
physical,
soul-
chemical, everything is changing, including
Soul
soul.
stuff is staying constant, isn't it? I don't know.
If we're talking as
Soul,
a human,
soul is inactive.
there are two
You know?
souls, I believe, that
Are there?
each... I think there's a little soul and the big soul. And the little souls come in and they do their thing, and when this body dies, it goes to join the big soul, and then comes back as another little soul, depending on how good or how bad you've been, etc. etc. You judge yourself.
Both parts do not work.
But the big soul is the nucleus, goes right back to when we were just blobs. You know, the blob that...
Mahatma,
the blob.
big soul is Mahatma.
Well, whatever you like. I didn't want to make a name, just in case it offended anyone.
No, I can give you...
Where did the big soul come from?
Big soul came, well, from dark and light matter, I guess. It came from a supernova.
Now, if you read this book, all your questions are answered. On scientific basis.
Right. This is
Not
only
only just the logic. I have my own.
Lovely. Commentary on
No,
the
but
commentary on the Gita.
Have you all read it? I read it already.
no. This is Hindi. I know.
Sorry, I didn't.
We'll have a study
no.
group in Hindi.
He says, I have a person who will read it to me,
Sure.
and then it can be discussed with everybody
Well,
else.
maybe
no.
yourself will be
But
able to translate.
no, this is recently I released.
Right. Now I have Hindi-speaking friends who will come and visit Kenya. So
I
if you
put
want
up
to
20 years
We'll have a little study.
on this book.
How many?
20,
20.
yes.
Did you anticipate that it was, well, you don't, do you just
On each element we can discuss scientifically.
Is it about elements as well? Ether and so forth?
Exactly.
Yeah, good.
The only thing is the English names are not given. The names are our
Can
own
I-
names.
can
The
I-
language.
Can I just challenge a question on one point? Right? You were saying that on the one hand we shouldn't copy stuff in the past. We shouldn't try to be Krishna and copy Jesus and Muhammad and all that. But sacred texts, like the Gita, the New Testament, the Quran and so on, I mean, by putting a commentary on one of those sacred texts, you're copying those ideas, aren't you? Why didn't you just write your own ideas?
It is exactly what I am saying. This is the first book. You will not find any other book like this.
Yeah, I think
This is what I am saying, exactly what I am saying.
Right.
Why should I bother about what somebody has said about it?
So you've done an
No.
innovative commentary.
It is totally different. Nobody has written like this.
Oh, okay. You broke a new ground.
This is the first, this is the scientific interpretation. I say Vaigyanik, this word itself says it is science in Gita.
Can I ask you a question then about the book? I mean, the Gita is the story of Arjuna, the charioteer, yeah?
Not story.
Arjuna about to go to battle,
Arjuna,
and then he says he doesn't want to fight.
Yeah.
And Krishna says.
he gives him the lectures like
gives
this.
him the lecture.
Okay,
Right.
and this
So
is the
how do you
lecture.
and this is the lecture. How do you interpret scientifically that story? What is Arjuna for you scientifically, and what is Krishna?
That's what I am saying. Yesterday also I gave you this hint. If you read the verses of Gita, they don't look like coming from one person as a human being. Krishna was a human being, born in Mathura. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, whole of the Gita was not narrated by a human being. If you read the language, if you read the messages, so you know it is not possible for a human being to say that I have been born and again, I know all my births, I remember. Arjun, you don't remember anything. This is the difference between you and me. This means here Krishna is not saying that I am a human being like you. I am somebody superior to you. So now
He's more evolved.
more
He's
evolved.
done more
So
past life workshops.
that means the whole of the Gita can be categorized into three categories. Krishna as a human being, Krishna as the reincarnation, and Krishna as Vishnu himself. You know. So the whole Gita, in this you will see,
Right.
we have divided this whole Gita. What Krishna has said as a human being is this. As an evolved person, this. And as Vishnu itself, this. So now this is the difference. And when all three replicate each other, you have to prove that all three are same. You know, this is the beauty of the Gita.
No, I think I love the book. But you know my favourite bit in the Gita I'd love to know your commentary on this. My favourite bit is when Arjuna pleads with Krishna to show him to him as he really is. And Krishna says, no, you don't want to see that, it's too complicated. But he insists, he says, please show me. Right? And for a brief second, Krishna explodes and becomes Vishnu and shows him the entire universe and everything.
Yeah.
And then Arjuna, it does his head in, he can't cope with it, right? And he says, no, please come back to being normal. How do you interpret that? You see, that moment of illumination, to me, is what the point of doing philosophy is. It's kind of like enlightenment. If everybody on the planet had that Krishna moment of seeing the complexity and the awesomeness of the universe, you know, then we'd stop doing stupid things like bombing each other and killing each other, because we'd see the divine.
Basically, you are out of the time frame. You can see the past, you can see the future, you can see the present.
Many people are doing that now.
That is what I am saying. This example tells you only this, that you have crossed the barrier of time and you become timeless.
Well, bring it on. You know, Einstein said time and space are connected.
Yeah.
It's time we saw through the game and got that Krishna vision. So we see the wonderful complexity of it.
That is exactly what I am saying.
Yeah.
When you cross the barrier of time, during your enlightenment, what happens? Finally, what you get here? You cross the barrier.
Well, you see that.
You can see the past and future, present, all three.
And you see the laws of karma as they are.
That means you can reach this extreme and you can reach the other extreme of the universe.
But then
So everything, then everything is in you.
As it was all in Krishna.
Exactly.
Like
you are Krishna. Say you are Krishna. You have become. Exactly what I mean. This is what I mean. And Krishna says,
There's still an age of initiation to get that to happen, wouldn't you? At a certain point in your life, because everyone's evolving at different rates all the time. For everybody to suddenly get that moment, you're going to have to
Krishna
also.
also.
Right, that's why I'm trying to open the Golden Gate.
Yeah, but you've got to make that available, haven't you, at a certain point in someone's life to say this year is when you're going to be given the gift of initiation to possibly, not necessarily, because it might not happen, to be enlightened.
But that's what
or have the opportunity to do something.
How are you going to be able to protect people going through the Golden Gate from others that want to know they want to cause trouble?
Well, they won't be invited to the party. Your head of security.
Who's going to be the security?
The Israeli army will be in charge of security.
The Israeli army, the Swiss army of that.
It's wonderfully provocative, just
No, I think it's very exciting. So, I think it can be done. So, look, let's work on this, okay? Global enlightenment, the Krishna moment for everybody. We'll translate this into English. And
No, you go back to the simple way. You are just talking when the time when the soul is being created from the same space. That is, Krishna says, that is what I am.